I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we dive into the heart of life's biggest questions with Justin Andrew Wild. He's the author of an outstanding book. It is called Tomorrow Again. This book invites us to examine the anniversaries that define us and challenges us to fill our calendars with moments worth remembering. Join us right now as we explore how his journey across continents has infused his writing with a deep understanding of the human pursuit for meaning. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Bookside Press for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his wonderful and important book. The links are below this interview. Justin, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's an honor.
The honor is all mine. Your book, Tomorrow Again, poses a very compelling question about the anniversaries that shape us. Tell us a little bit about a personal anniversary that has significantly shaped or formed your life.
I would say when I got married. My wife and I got married on July 4th of 2009. Julie's Canadian, and so that was the day the church and everything we needed was available. And so I was married in my mid-30s, and so I had gone through kind of that life journey where I thought, well, maybe I won't meet someone. And then I moved to Shanghai, China, and I met my wife in our place of work. And so that wedding anniversary and the path it has put me on has been a wonderful one.
Absolutely. And that's an anniversary we should all remember, the day we got married, and hopefully it was a happy experience like you've had. In your book, you also explored the theme of devotion to the dying.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit about your experiences abroad and how they influence your perspective on this theme.
Well, in a lot of other cultures, the way people care for older people is very different than what we might do in the United States. In China, extended families will live together, and it's the same in India. When we moved to our apartment in India, we had 4 bedrooms with 4 bathrooms, and that seemed really excessive until all of our neighbors, it was a married couple with their children, but then both sets of elderly people would typically live with them, and that was normal. That was the way it worked in India. And so, when you live abroad, you see a lot of different ways of doing things. And in some of these cultures, the idea of a rest home just doesn't exist. Yeah. When people reach a certain age, either the young people move in with them into their home, or those people leave their home and they move in with their children. And so that kind of devotion to extended family is something that is very different than what we might see in the United States. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Eastern culture is different than the Western culture when it comes to that. There are not too many 55 plus communities and nursing homes and all that. It's the obligation of the children in many cases to take care of the elderly and the dying, and both benefit from that symbiotic relationship, no doubt. Tell us a little bit about how your exposure to different cultures has shaped your narrative, your book, and give us an overview of your book as well.
Sure. I guess I'll start with the overview. It takes place in a Midwestern United States college town over a hot summer, and it takes place over 11 days, and it explores the themes essentially of how we live our lives, and how we cling to hope or we start to lose hope, and how we might regain that. I think a lot of my travel abroad helped me to live a very vicarious life. And moving from country to country, I wrote this book in Korea, Chile, and I finished it in China. And so I was living a vicarious life experience, and I wanted to explore what happens if we don't have that vicarious experience. And so a lot of what came through in my own life was funneled into the book of, am I making my days matter? Can I find in the book, every month on a calendar needs to have a special anniversary. If I have my own life's calendar, can I fill it with those anniversaries? And so living that life helped to really fuel the perspective on finishing the novel, because I think if I was just living in the States, I wouldn't have gained that perspective. But because I was kind of hopping from place to place and exploring life it really helped to shape the narrative of the book.
Your book is a novel, but it's also sort of a book of philosophy as well, almost sort of like the Celestine Prophecy or a book like that. Was that your idea, was to put your personal philosophy and that you've learned over the years into a novelized form?
It was. And it was when I was teaching high school English. I really like to take a philosophical bent. We would do a huge unit on existentialism with Kafka and Conrad and the other, some of the authors. And for me, it was important to infuse that philosophy into the novel to make it more than just about 11 days, but to hopefully leave the reader with something to think about of, well, I walk out into my kitchen. If I have a calendar, what's my special day in April or what's my special day in August? And so I try to live a very philosophical life. And so I want that to come through in my writing.
Having your wedding anniversary as a big life shaping anniversary, obviously, is kind of a easy one, a slam dunk, of course,
Yeah.
unless your marriage went south. Um, what are some of the other anniversaries that are on your calendars that might be a little more obscure but still have significance?
It was July 28th of 2007 when I landed in Shanghai, China.
Mm.
And I moved there thinking my initial contract was for 2 years at my school. I worked at a school called Shanghai American School, and it turned into a much longer stint. It turned into 12 years.
Mm.
And moving to, I had lived at the base of the Andes in Santiago, Chile. I had a view of the Andes from my balcony of my apartment, and I lived a much more outdoor life. And then I landed in a place that is like you squeezed New York and Tokyo and a few other places into one giant metropolis.
Yeah.
And so that was a very electrifying moment in my life. So that would be an important anniversary. And I think often my birthday is an important anniversary.
Mm.
I was born December 30th. So growing up, I didn't always have the biggest birthday. I think a lot of Christmas and December babies can share a similar story.
Yeah.
But my wife always makes sure my birthday in December is important and is much more about marking a year of life than just, a cake and some candles. So that would be, a repeating December 30th is, since we got married, is kind of a repeating checklist of a way to take stock and a way to think about those things.
Yeah, those are wonderful anniversaries for you to remember. All of us have similar types of milestones in our lives. We might not know the dates. Do you feel like it's important to remember the day because it helps you visualize it and bring you back to that time, maybe before you had the love of your life and after and that kind of thing?
For me, it does. But to be frank, I don't remember every single specific date something happened. But there's certainly seasons where I start to think about, oh, and I love autumn because, things are changing and I remember when this happened. So dates can be helpful and they
Mhm.
can help us take stock. Honestly, I think if we don't write them down, it's easy to remember outside of your wedding anniversary. I moved to Shanghai in late July and what a
Mhm.
time it was. So I think you can do it either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Shanghai is my favorite city in China. It's very, very beautiful. I've traveled fairly extensively through the country, and that was the one place I felt very much at home. Perhaps it's more like a Western city. Let me ask you a little bit about the pursuit of purpose. It's a central theme in your work. What advice do you have for readers who are still searching for their own purpose?
I think you have to try a lot of different things and learn from your failure. As a teacher, I started to see students be more and more afraid to make a mistake. And that certainly was not how I was as a student. And it's still not who I am as a person. I think as we seek for purpose, we have to try different things. And, that doesn't mean you have to do something dramatic like switch cities or quit your job. You could find great purpose in volunteer work, or you could find great purpose in trying a new sport. And so I really think it's about, I'm going to try this and it might fail. And that's fine. I can walk away from this and I can pick up something brand new and keep trying to do that. I think some of it does come though from examining, what would I want my purpose to do for me? It probably wouldn't be about making money, but if I have that hole in my life, well, what have I tried to use to fill that hole? And what do I need to do differently to fill that hole?
Your book concludes with moments of crucial realizations and hope. Without giving away too much, can you tell us a little bit about the importance of hope in your book?
Sure. I see the story or the book is about how hope fuels us through tribulations. One of the characters, Philip, is very old. He's a Korea War vet, so that places him around age 88 or 89. And he is, he's struggling, he's older, and he's continually left behind with friends who pass away, but he doesn't quit. He keeps pushing. He takes care of his friends who are dying. He maintains his home. He engages in church. And at the end, I think that torch of hope is passed to another character, Gina, who starts to move beyond her own place and starts to see things very differently. And so I think hope can make us do just about anything in our lives as long as we stay hopeful and we get up every day and we keep trying. And so that was something I really wanted to put into the book, that it doesn't matter if you're 29 or 89. Hope is the thing that can really pull you out of a challenging time and help you move into the next era, whatever it may be.
Agreed. And I don't think there's anything worse than hopelessness. That's for sure.
Agreed.
The name of the book is Tomorrow Again. Tell us the significance of the title.
So we all go through those times in life when we're in a bit of a rut, and the next day just feels like, oh, here I go again. So as I thought about the book, if you open into the chapters, it starts on a day, but when it gets back to Monday, it's Monday again, Tuesday again, and so forth. And so calling it Tomorrow Again is tomorrow again. I'm going to keep trying. Life is going to continue. The sun's coming up. And so I have to keep pushing myself. And I made the book go over 11 days to mimic a calendar so that the 12th day is left open and hopeful. And we don't know what happens on the 12th day, and that lets the reader fill that in.
Wonderful. The name of the book, to say it once again, is Tomorrow
Tomorrow
Again.
Again.
And the book will leave you pondering your life's own anniversaries and the moments you cherish. Justin, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
The honor's been all mine. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.